Greetings, everybody. We're in Porto, Portugal, at the second edition of the MES and Industry 4.0 with the CEO of Critical Manufacturing, Francisco. Welcome.
Thank you, and welcome you to Porto. It's a great having you here.
Thank you. It's a beautiful city. Awesome start for the first day. Now, your first session, your keynote session, was on adding the brain to the MES, and you're talking about the MES evolving from an executor to a thinker. What are the most concrete examples you're seeing today as AI agents making real-time decision within the MES platform?
Oh, great. I mean, I hope that I put everyone's head spinning because the topic is so impactful, right? So I think what's going to happen is that as we're putting generative AI, let me explain this a little bit, as we're putting generative AI and we give them, so the LLMs, as we give them access to MES, access to data, it will start creating a lot of smart movements, smart suggestions, smart assessments, and we'll start having real impact, initially only through suggestions, across many different scenarios within manufacturing. The early results that we're seeing from this are absolutely outstanding.
Can you double click on a couple of them, maybe with some feedback from the other teams?
Yeah, so the first thing that we did, and it's important to understand this, the first thing that we did was starting to connect LLMs into our data models. That was the first step. And so we were at shock because at the very beginning we're just starting asking questions about data models. So if you have a data model and if the data model is consistent, structured, clean, you start getting wonderful results. And so we started asking questions about, can you please tell us what happened in the production in the last day? What happened in the last shift? What are the problems that you have across machine processes? And just by looking at the database and looking at the results that you have there, it started producing results, right? So this was right just at the beginning, and you can see just the early entry point. But then you can think about many other scenarios which are more complex. The way we see this, an MES today is basically composed by a data, by a business layer, and a graphical user interface. And the business layer has a lot of logic, and there's sometimes hundreds or thousands of rules that people write inside of this logic. But then this logic is pretty much static. Even in a system like ours, it's very powerful, but very static. And so what this means is that over time, the agents will start to analyze what's going on, trying to assess the results of this data, these rules that are happening, and will start to make suggestions. Things like, for instance, you having this type of logic for when to do reworks. Maybe you should rethink that. You are having this logic of how to dispatch lots in material to one station or the other, depending on the allocation. Maybe you should rethink that. And then we will ask human operators to confirm those suggestions, right? And so there's so many things that can be done with this. I think we're just really seeing the beginning of all of this.
Right, and I was seeing a recording of the Eric Schmidt, of the CEO of former CEO of Google, that was going on record in front of the Congress stating that AI is underhyped still, and yet here we are, everybody's talking about AI. Now, what is, in your view, we'll get to the human part of it, the human operator, but I wanted to see, in your view, what's the tipping point that will push traditional manufacturing to adopt the next generation thinking MES, if you want to put the quotation mark? Is it operational efficiency? Is it labor constraint, supply chain volatility, or something else?
Yeah, I think it's a great question because imagination is the limit, right? The LLMs originally, the ChatGPTs of the world, right, they were not trained with MES or manufacturing logic. They were trained with internet scale type of logic. But what we're finding is that this can be applied into all these different areas. And so this is why I think I was able to put everyone's head spinning around, was that it really depends on what is more important for you. Is it productivity? Then an LLM can do that. For instance, we're having early results on using scheduling using LLMs. And sometimes we get better results than our own heuristics and very sophisticated methods. Right? If this is labor constraints, then the same. You can also put him to work on there. So it really depends on where people see most of the advantage. But again, I think just based on the examples that were provided, they were really able to see in their different industries, depending on what their priorities are, what were the most important things for them.
Got it.
There's no limit. There's no limit for where to apply this.
Now, How do you envision the role of human, whether human operators, or evolving as MES systems begin to make autonomous decisions? What does a co-pilot model look like in practice?
Okay, this is extremely important because what we aim when we are starting to apply this type of technology is there needs to be some confidence that is built, some trust that is built on this type of systems. And so initially, everything that's going to happen is going to be suggestions being done by the agents, suggestions being done by the generative AI. Because people are still very afraid that sometimes the LLMs hallucinate or provide wrong results. And so it's going to be suggestion-based. And then what the humans are going to do is to approve or not those suggestions. Two of the things that are very important here. One is that making sure that from a design standpoint, these agents operate within guardrails. It's extremely important as well. So they operate within boundaries, within limits, within policies. They don't, just come up with stuff that goes outside of what we meant for them. And the third element is that whatever decisions agents make or whatever suggestions, they need to have a certain tracing, certain traceability that explains what has the agent assessed, what were the alternatives, what were the analysis done, and what are the results, so that you can also start building confidence. But again, I see that humans and agents are going to work together for a very long time.
Thank you so much for the insights. And if you're in the audience, have questions, please feel free to comment, leveraging the hashtag you see on the screen. Appreciate the invite.
Thank you so much,
Beautiful
Lucian.
city of Porto. Thank you.
Really a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Right.